أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. According to historical reports, nobody had ever seen the sky turning red except on that day in which Imam Hussein alayhi salam was killed. It rained blood, so much so that for a long time afterwards the stain of that blood remained on the houses and walls. This was a day in which even the skies were weeping for what took place. What happened on this day? After the blessed body of our Imam alayhi salam is on the battlefield of Karbala, and Shimr has done his deed, the head has been severed. Now the enemy seizes the opportunity. One man stole the shirt of the Imam, another one stole his sandals. Another one took his turban, another one his sword, and so on and so forth. One of them saw a ring on his hand covered with blood, and he was trying to get it out, but he couldn't. So he went and he cut the finger. And according to a historian, a famous historian, he says they did to Imam Hussein alayhi salam what no other nation had ever done to their most evil ones. They killed him with the sword and the spear. They threw stones at him. But they didn't just end with that. They also took the horses and they began to trample the bodies as well. Umar ibn Sa'd la'natullahi alayhi calls out. He asks, who is there to volunteer to make sure that the chest and the back of Imam Hussein are run over by the horses? And among the enemy, there are 10 volunteers who stand up. If I can ask that the lights be turned off. There are 10 men who stood up, and they took their horses and they rode them and they trampled upon the body of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. These 10 men would later go to the court of Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, and they would be so happy over the crime that they committed that history says that they actually composed some special poetry just to praise themselves and to brag over what they did. They said to Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, we did crush that chest and the back. Mighty steeds made it like a river track. And he asks them, he says that, who are you people? What are you saying? Man antum? And then they say, we are the ones who trampled with our horses the back of Hussein until it was grounded up. The bones of his chest were grounded up. And Ubaydullah was so happy with what they did that he gave them an extra reward. This is just a bit of the tragic events that took place on the day of Ashura. And now, as the night begins to fall, and it becomes darker and darker on the plains of Karbala, imagine, brothers and sisters, the shrieking of the women and the cries of the children. Until now, how much have they had to endure and how much suffering have they had to go through? the long journey, the hunger, the thirst, the difficulties, the pain of not knowing what was going to happen, and then finally on this day, so much agony and so much misery, so much injustice, so much blood that was shed. Their fathers, their uncles, their cousins, their brothers are with them no longer, but their suffering has only begun. Because as this night begins to fall, they have no one there to protect them. They are all alone. That's why this night is called, in Arabic culture, they refer to it as Laylatul Wahsha. It's the night of great fear. And in the Persian and in the Urdu culture, it's referred to as Sham-e Ghariban or Sham-e Ghariba, meaning the night of those who are gharib. Gharib is somebody who is away from their home, or somebody who is destitute, somebody's in a state of poverty. These are individuals, this is not their home. This is not the position that they would like to be in. They have no helpers amongst them. And who are these people? It's the family of Rasulullah. These people who are about to commit their crimes, have they not read the Quran? Have they not read the verse which says, قُلْ مَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ مِنْ أَجْرٍ إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى? Have they not read the verse which says that إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ الرِّجْسَ أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا? There is one lady who is part of the enemy army. She had accompanied her husband. And when she sees the scene, these women who are alone and the enemy soldiers getting ready to loot their tents, she comes out and takes a sword and she advances towards her own army and she cries out that how can you possibly let the daughters of Rasulullah be looted? La hukma illa lillah. This order that you have from Ubaydullah and from Umar, don't obey it. Obey the command of Allah. Ya li tharati Rasulillah. Is there anyone to come who will avenge the blood that was spilled for the children of Rasulullah? But she's all alone. What can she do? Eventually the men come and they restrain her. This is just the beginning, brothers and sisters. At this point, the enemy soldiers, they come towards the tents and they begin looting everything that they see. One by one, they go from tent to tent. When they see rings on the fingers of the ladies, they snatch the rings. When they see earrings, they snatch the earrings. They are looking for bracelets on their ankles and earrings on their ears. From lady to lady, from girl to girl, they go one by one, seeking these ludi and the war booty. One of them goes to the daughter of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Her name is Fatima. And as he comes to her, she sees that he is crying. And she asks him, Ma yubkika ya adu Allah? What is it that makes you weep so much, O enemy of Allah? He says, Kayfa la abki wa ana aslabu ibnata Rasulillah. How can I not cry? I am taking stuff and stealing things away from the daughter of Rasulullah. She tells him that if that's the case, then don't steal it away from me. He says that if I fear that if I don't do it, that somebody else will come after me and he will do it. So he goes to her. This is the daughter of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Has he no shame? This is the family of Rasulullah. This is the Ahlul Bayt. He goes and he seizes the very bracelet that is on her ankle. And one by one they come. They even go and take the head covering that is covering the heads of these blessed ladies and these children. Fatima, at one point, she goes and looks for her auntie Zainab, and she goes to her and she says, my dear aunt, Ya Ammata, is there anything that you have that I can use to cover my head with? Because I don't want to be seen by the eyes of these people who are strangers to me. They are not mahram to me. And she says to her, Ya binta wa ammatuka mithluki. Oh my daughter, "Oh my daughter, your aunt is in the same position as you." And she saw the head of her own aunt, and it too was uncovered as well too. One by one they go from tent to tent. Eventually they come to the tent of Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam. He is the Khalifatullah fil ard. He is the Imam of the time. They come to the tent and they find out that one of the sons of Imam Hussein alayhi salam is still alive. They are so happy over their find. They take their swords. They are about to strike at the head and the body of Imam Sajjad alayhi salam. One of the enemies says that, "How can you come and strike him like this? Don't you see that he is sick? He is so ill?" They say that, "No, this is the orders of Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, that not only Hussein should be killed, but every one of his sons, one by one, we should kill them as well." Who is left to protect the son of Imam Hussein? Who is left to protect the Imam of the time? Zainab alayha salam sees what they are doing to her nephew. She has to defend the Imam. She comes and flings herself in front of the body of Imam Sajjad alayhi salam. She tells them that, "You shall not kill him before killing me first." When they see that Zainab alayha salam is determined, they will not go any further. Finally they leave Imam Sajjad alayhi salam alone. After going through the tents and seizing everything they can find, now they have to complete the deed. They take their big sticks that they have lighted with fire. One by one, they go towards the tents and start putting every tent to fire. The Rawi, the narrator says, ثُمَّ أَخْرِجُوا النِّسَاءَ مِنَ الْخَيْمَةِ. They made the women come out of the tents. وَأَشْعَلُوا فِيهَا النَّارِ. They kindled the tents with fire. فخرجنا حواسر مسلبات حافيات باكيات يمشين سبايا في أسر الظلال. They made them come out of the tents. They lighted fire to them. They came out barefooted, having been looted, weeping, walking like prisoners in a state of humiliation. There is one daughter of Imam Hussein. Her name is Sukaina. She was very young. They say that at night she was not able to sleep. She is looking for her father Hussein. I don't know how she can find him among those bodies that have been left uncovered, unburied. I don't know how she can find him among those bodies which have been trampled by the horses. But somehow she finds the body of her father. She goes to it. She must have placed her head on his chest. She sees a vision in which Imam Hussein alayhi salam speaks to her and gives her a message. He says to her, "Shi'ati, شيعتي ما إن شربتم ري عذب فاذكروني أو سمعتم بغريب أو شهيد فاندبوني." Oh Shia, oh my Shia, if you ever drink any water, if you drink any water which is nourishing, then remember me. If you ever hear of a gharib or a shaheed, then mourn over me. One of the poets has added some lines which are very appropriate. He says, وَأَنَا الصِّبْتُ الَّذِي مِنْ غَيْرِ جُرْمٍ قَتَلُونِي وَبِجَرْدِ الْخَيْلِ بَعْدَ الْقَتْلِ عَمْدًا سَحَقُونِي. I am the grandson who for committing no crime, they killed me, and afterwards they took their horses and deliberately trampled my body. ليتكم في يوم عاشوراء جميعا تنظروني. If only all of you could see me on the day of Ashura. كيف أستسقي لطفلي فأبوا أن يرحموني. How I sought some water for my baby, but they refused to give me any water. وسقوه سهم بغي عوض الماء المعين. And instead they gave him an arrow out of their transgression instead of that water which would have quenched his thirst. Imam Sajjad alayhi salam says that every night from that point onwards I would look at my Aunt Zainab. Every night she would stand for prayer. Every night she would do her Salatul Layl. Sometimes she would be too hungry to be able to stand. Even on the night of Ashura, I saw that my Aunt Zainab, in between taking care of the children, consoling the women, taking care of me, she still would spend her time calling upon Allah, performing her salah, seeking refuge in Allah from the tragedy that had befallen them. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون.